Hi, I'm Mike Potter, and I'd like to welcome you to the True Wealth Financial Show, a show dedicated to providing you the information and inspiration to navigate financial decisions, intentionally build wealth, and retire with confidence. I appreciate you taking the time to tune in. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Additionally, you can find more information and resources on our website at truewealth.show. And now, let's get on to this week's episode. Hi, welcome to another episode of the True Wealth Show. In today's episode, I want to try to answer the question, what is true wealth? I get asked that a handful of times by a lot of different people. This is the True Wealth Financial Show. The name of my advisory firm is True Wealth Financial Group. So I want to try to help address the question, what is true wealth? Honestly, the first time I heard this was around 2013. At the time, I was a financial counselor at the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. I had been coaching for a couple of years, and I got invited by LPL, which is a big advisory broker dealer in the United States, to a conference there by a recruiter basically that Ron Carson was doing. So Ron Carson is owns a wealth management organization out in Omaha, Nebraska. At the time, he was LPL's biggest advisor. And so they were really using him, and he was building a coaching platform. So they're kind of partnering together to help bring in business as well as help people get into his coaching program and excel, things like that. And so I went to this conference in Virginia, around McLean area at Marriott, just off the Beltway there. And during that presentation, he mentioned something about the idea of true wealth. And at the time, the way he described it was the things that money can't buy and death can't take away. And it just kind of struck me at the moment of this term true wealth. And so let me first tell you kind of what it's not. So if you think about, get-rich-quick schemes, complicated systems. Really, it's not really about that. It's really not even about money per se. If you just think of the term wealth, in contrast to riches, in some degree they're synonyms, but there's slight differences. So when I think of the word wealth, I think of more holistic in nature. Long-lasting, more established. When I think of someone who's wealthy, I think of someone who has good character and is grounded and has wealth beyond just, I won the lottery or, I got rich quick because I signed a contract deal. Right? Rich, obviously there's a lot of money involved with riches, but really that's the focus of it. When I think of someone who's wealthy, I think of, someone who's legacy-minded, who's stewardship-minded, things like that. So that's the wealth side of it. And if you think of the word true, right, in contrast to fake, right? So true is something that's real, it's grounded in truth, it's founded in principle, whereas something that's fake is not real. It's an illusion, a mirage, right? So someone who has, puts on a fake perspective of being wealthy or being rich is not really what we're striving for. A lot of times people will use debt. The guy will finance a car and then drive up to a stop sign or a red light, and kind of, you kind of see them, they're kind of laid back a little bit, and they have this, I'm the man because I'm driving this car, but in reality, they don't even own the car. It's financed, and they have payments, so the bank really is the owner of the car. They're just renting it to him for a little while, and he's drawing his identity from this fakeness of a material thing that he doesn't even really own. And so, as we explore kind of what is true wealth, the other thing that came to mind is it's not really a thing; it's more of an approach to handling money. One time, I was reading through my Bible, and I got to Luke 16, and I read this verse 11. It says, "If therefore you have not been faithful in unrighteous mammon," which is money, "who will commit to your trust the true riches?" So I'll summarize Luke 16 to some degree because it kind of gives us the principles that's laid out with this approach. So in Luke 16, Christ is teaching his disciples there, And he basically is using this parable of a lord and a steward. So a steward is the idea of someone who is managing the household for someone else. So you could think of them as a butler, as a maid, as a manager. But, we kind of see it today still on ships with the steward of a ship handles people's bags and all the arrangements of the guests and things like that. And so this lord accuses this steward of not managing things well and essentially being wasteful and not doing a very good job. And he comes to him and says, you might not keep this position. Basically, I might fire you from this position. And so the steward says, oh no, what am I going to do? I don't really have any other kind of skills and I don't want to go beg. And so what do I do? And he goes out to all the different people who owe his lord some money and basically says, hey, how much do you owe? And he says, hey, I'll give you a discount. You owe $100, just make it 80. How much wheat do you owe? It's 100 bushels. We'll just go ahead and make it 50. And basically the Lord comes to the steward and commends him for doing a good job, for being wise, for going out and establishing some relationships and working with all these people. Now the steward did it for his own personal gain. He was hoping that if he got put out of his stewardship position, that these people would receive him. And in that verse, in the passage there, it talks about how the people are more wise than the children of light when it comes to money. And it continues to go on and says, if you have not been faithful with the little things, who's going to commit to your trust these big things? And then it goes in that verse 11 again, if you've not been faithful in unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? And then Christ ends it, you can't serve two masters, you'll love the one and hate the other, and you can't basically serve God and mammon is the gist of it. And so in that story, though, is highlighted a handful of principles that to me resonate with true wealth, right? So number one is the idea of stewardship, that you are managing this wealth, the money that you have, the resources, the capital that you have for a greater good or for something else, some other external purposes, not just self. Number two is that the relationships are involved, right? So there's a handful of relationships involved with money. Your relationship with, your employer, your relationship, if you own a business, with your customers, with your vendors. If you're married, the relationship with your spouse or with your children, friends and family. Like money is intertwined with every relationship we have because money is involved, the transactional aspects of our relationships. The Lord commends the steward for being wise. So true wealth involves applying wisdom to how we're handling money. He talks about the idea of faithfulness, if you're faithful, right? So true wealth is connected with the idea of being faithful in handling our money. So being honest, having integrity, doing the right thing, character, faithful hope, right? Hope that we will have a better future. That's what faith is, and being full of it. It's kind of the understanding that it's something more valuable than money, right? So that passage in verse 11 says, if you have not been faithful in unrighteous mammon with money, who will commit to you the true riches? So there's something worth more than just money, right? Money is valuable, but there's something that's more valuable than that. It's the idea of not making money the sole focus of your life, right? You can't serve two masters, right? So money is a tool. It's a mechanism. It's something that we use to interact with people, but it's more than just that. And it talks about the end, kind of being content and not being covetousness and being driven by that. So what this does is it helps us illustrate that there's an approach and principles associated with it, as well as, the idea that there's more meaning and purpose to having true wealth in comparison to just the actual money itself, right? So first definition, true wealth, it's not fake. It's not just about the money. Through this, we realize that there's principles and approaches and means to handling money. And so these two things really culminate to what my definition of true wealth is. And so I define it as this. True wealth is the valuable things in life that money can't buy. the valuable things in life that money can't buy. Now, money enables it for sure, but you can't buy that. So what are some examples? Obviously, something for me as a Christian is about salvation, right? You're not redeemed with silver and gold, right? Peace. Zig Ziglar said you could buy a good bed, but you can't buy a good night's sleep. Having confidence in your financial future, in your life, making memories from the experiences that you have, hope that your financial future and your life will be better. Unity, right? You can't buy unity, right? Unity with your spouse, unity with your kids, unity with your vendors or with your employer. Purpose and legacy, right? What is it when you pass away, when you die? What do you think of other people to think about you? Right? That's something that you can't buy. You can't buy that, but it's something valuable. And the reality is that money enables all of these things. Shakespeare said, "A man with a toothache cannot be in love." Right? The idea is that he's thinking about is this painful tooth. And if you've had really a bad, tooth experience, it can be extremely painful. And so you're not thinking about anything but the tooth. And the same thing is with money. When you're struggling or stressed or anxious about money because you don't have a clear plan, you don't have a clear future, you don't have a clear next steps, things like that, your financial future is uncertain to you, that's all you're going to think about, which then distracts from these really valuable things in life like unity, peace, confidence, purpose, legacy, memories. You can't focus on those things because you're only stressed down about the money. And so the idea is that the more you get your money under control, the more you'll get your life under control. So money enables these things. So that's what true wealth is. True wealth is the valuable things in life that money can't buy, but it is certainly enabled by finances. So I hope that is helpful for you. It gives you a little bit of insight as to my thoughts and approaches and kind of philosophy with money and with wealth and with true wealth specifically. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be glad to answer them to the best of my ability. I hope this is helpful for you. And until next time, I hope you have a great day. Thanks again for taking the time to watch or listen this week's episode of the True Wealth Financial Show. I encourage you to like, share, subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Additionally, you can go to www.truewealth.show for more information and resources. One final note as we wrap up today's show. I hope the information that you were provided was helpful and valuable, but I want to remind you that it's really for educational purposes only. Prior to making any decisions or taking any actions, I would strongly encourage you to talk to your legal, tax, estate, or financial advisor who's familiar with the circumstances of your situation. Until next time, I hope you have a great day.